Oh, we should be a general record if you get the three of us on.
Y'all are just talking. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Forever Young Cast. I'm your host, Don Del Rente, and I'm joined by my co-host, Miss Jupiter Julep. How are you?
Well, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for joining me once again. We're joined by our co-host, Miss Madam Lizette. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We got sunshine today in Texas.
That's always a good thing. I was watching football. They had snow in Wisconsin.
Oh.
And speaking of lands with lots of snow, joining us once again to form the shield is Miss What Sleep Though. How are you, Miss V?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
Was it snowing in Minnesota today?
No, it's actually, well, today it's cold. We had like 60-degree weather a couple days ago, and today it's like 40, but no snow today. Thank God.
Global warming is very real, guys.
It sure is. But it's going to get better in like a million years, according to Trump. So we're okay. Don't worry about it.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
The Forever Young Cast can be found on the CSPN at www.cspn.us. So, ladies, we have made it to the quarterfinals of this year's Mae Young Classic. We're going to start off with a veteran versus a rookie as Meiko Satomura. Let me rephrase that. A legend versus a rookie in Meiko Satomura.
The final boss.
Versus Lacey Lane. Satomura cuts off Lacey Lane with a head kick, and the armbar follows. Lacey Lane fights, and she makes it to the ropes. Satomura follows with more kicks and the German suplex. They trade strikes. Lacey Lane fires up and hits a charging knees, and then a springboard high cross for a 2 count. Satomura then gives her a head kick, and the Death Valley driver follows, and Satomura gets the win. So I'm going to start with Jupiter Julep this week because I know how much you like Meiko Satomura. The final boss. She kind of played around with her food a little bit, and then she gave Lacey Lane a little hope spot, and then she gave her the DVD and moved on to the semifinals. So your analysis and what you thought of Meiko's win and her moving on to the next round.
The first thing I want to start with is the look of the show. What I noticed was they had the statistics at the bottom of the screen, talking about the hometown, the style, and the height of each wrestler, and I appreciated that. I also meant to bring up the overture from Mauro Ronaldo. I like it because I watch him on Showbox. It gives this big fight feeling to what we're hearing. And if I had to have a female announcer, and obviously they would probably go with Maria Menounos, but I would have loved to. Of course, you know her. What was the name of the female co-host from His and Hers?
Jamel Hill.
Jamel Hill, yeah.
Have her do the overture as well. But other than that, yes, I was happy to see Meiko and Lacey start the show. Meiko always looks great. Lacey Lane, I need for her to have another look.
Yes.
And for 2 reasons. Number one, if her, Ember, or Mia Yim, or another Black woman comes up with a handkerchief halfway across their face, I'm a scream. But the problem that I had with her look was her braids were covering some of the strikes. And, you know, Meiko was going at it and Lacey was answering, but there were times where I missed it because the hair was in the way. And so when you get into the match, what I did appreciate was the story that they told, which was you had the legend that everybody liked to see. You had the hometown hero. So who would you root for? And it was a competition where the commentators were saying, hey, Lacey Lane being in the ring right now is a winner. There's really nothing that could happen that's going to take that away. If she wins, that's awesome. If she loses, she's still a winner. Whereas Meiko had As a final boss, she doesn't have a lot to prove, but still, it would be a different conversation if she lost to Lacey. And throughout the match, what we saw was that Lacey was trying to have something, an answer for Mako, where she couldn't even no, I don't even want to give a good sportsmanship in the middle of the match. I don't want to take any chances. I just want to work. And what Mako realizes, I can't, like you said, she played with her food a little bit. She's like, no, I can't take chances, and I'm going to end it. And she did. So I like the match. It was a good amount of time. It made Lacey look strong. Of course, Mako is a legend, and that is undisputed. I see a lot of potential in Lacey. I am not saying that she will be a star yet. And a lot of that has to do with what will her character be, fixing the look a little bit so that she is her own person and not Ember Moonlight, and doing something where she's going to be innovative in the ring that we can clearly see it and give her full props.
All right. I'm going to shift over to Miss Madame Lizette. Madame Lizette, your analysis on Miko moving on to the semifinals.
So she's my fave. And I watched this match twice because the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. I felt like there were just a lot of stops and starts to it. And I was like, let me give it a run back one more time, just in case. I rewatched it earlier today, and the start and stops make sense now that I've gone and watched it a second time. They really were telling the story of the vet, the legend, and the inexperienced rookie who is kind of in over her head. And at moments, if you caught glimpses of Lacey Lane's face, you could tell that she was just like, I don't know what I'm doing in the ring with you. Like, I don't. And Mako was playing with her and was kind of being like, I'm trying to give you a chance, but if you're not going to take it, and kind of getting at her in a way. And I like that Lacey Lane took it and was like, well, I'm at least she tried to step up to the challenge, and really tried to apply herself. There were moments where I felt like her punches and her kicks and things, her strikes, they didn't feel like or look like they did anything. It's kind of like the little brother hitting the big brother and the older brother just kind of like, go away. Like you're a fly, shoot. And eventually that's kind of what it turned into. Mako ended it fairly quickly. And there was, that was all she wrote. So I think the match was pretty good. I think that Lacey ends up looking really strong in this, and I kind of want to see what WWE is going to do with her. But kind of similar to Jupiter Julep and Miss V, they got to figure out what they're doing with her character. Like, her hair is in the way, the music doesn't really work, the look doesn't really work, because you're kind of like a gothic basketball player, but you have this name that's very 1920s, Susie Homemaker. It doesn't match, and I'll get into this more as we go on, because I had a conversation about how some of these bravados that they're putting on in their promos, and then what we're getting as a character, and then what's going on in the ring is not tying. And as Lacey Lane's not the only character or only wrestler that's happening with, and so I think that Triple H and the rest of them kind of have to figure out, what is it that you want her to be, or who is it that she wants to be? Kind of like the same way that Sasha had to figure out who she was going to be in creating that boss character. We gotta get somewhere to create this character. And I know that's the point of NXT, and that's the point of the Mae Young Classic, but Lacey's it's not tying the way it should.
Okay. Ms. V, what sleep though? Your thoughts on Miko's advancement to the semifinals?
You guys covered pretty much everything that I had written down, but Lacey, I've said it before in past podcasts, she needs to change her name. It doesn't match her at all, or what she's supposed to be, I'm guessing. The green contacts, I don't understand, because it doesn't make sense with anything else that she has going on. I don't know if it's supposed to be a tie-in to the one green dread that she has. I don't know what that is. Her hair definitely does get in the way of her matches, and it's distracting for me also because they're really stiff, like, and they don't move the way I think that she wants them to move when she's getting like hit in the face or something, or making a move. So it's distracting to me there. I also, and I think the headband that she's wearing, I wonder if she doesn't have any edges because it's so far back on her head. I'm like, maybe that's why she has to wear these dreads, because she can't not, like, she has to have that headband on for some reason.
Then we can just go find her a wig.
Is this a LeBron James situation?
It might
Huh?
be.
You know,
I don't know, but like the problem with that is that the WWE does not do weaves very well.
no.
But like, especially on black girls, like, thank God Naomi goes off site and gets her hair done, because when she's like, you can tell Alicia Fox lets the girls behind the scenes do her hair.
Whew.
And it's like, no, go with Naomi. And because Naomi, I think she hooked up Sasha Banks when they were doing Team Bad, because Sasha was struggling a little bit too, and then she hooked her up. But I digress. So yeah, so they really do need to get her gimmick together, or whatever it is. And I agree with Madame Lizette. Like, a lot of her strikes don't look like they're doing anything. It's like she doesn't have follow through with her strikes, with her kicks and her punches. So it just kind of looks, it looks choreographed, and it shouldn't look that way for a viewer. So I'm hoping that she can learn from that. I do like the story that was told. The commentators did a really good job of, talking about how Mako was the legend, and it's just it's a win for Lacey to even make it this far, to even be in the ring with her. And the whole story that they told as wrestlers in the ring for the match, that showed that. It showed that Mako knew what she was doing, and she was like gonna give her a little bit of a chance, and she's like, oh, well, this girl can go a little bit, so maybe I need to just stop playing around with her and just go ahead and finish this. So I'm excited to, I don't know what else to say about Mako, because she's a legend, and she's amazing at what she does, and she has a great presence. Like, as soon as she walks out onto the ramp, okay, this girl knows what the hell she's doing, and if she doesn't, at least she looks like she does. And then when she gets into the ring, you're like, okay, yep, everything is there. She's 100% what you thought she was going to be. So I'm excited to see her in the next round. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Lacey. I think a whole overhaul for her would be a good idea. But I feel like sometimes they, like, unless they're going to put her with Ember, she's got to change her entire look, because yes, I'm tired of seeing every black girl come out with contacts, and every black girl come out with, a ski mask or something over their face. Like, they have to do, and like a hood or something. Like, they have to figure out something else for these girls to do, because unless you're going to put them all on the team together, they can't all be looking like the same girl on different shows. So yeah, that's just my take on her, but I'm excited to see what happens with Mako in the next round.
Our next matchup pits the genius of the sky, Io Shirai, versus the virtuoso Deonna Purrazzo. Io Shirai hits a palm strike, then she hits a 619, and then a missile springboard drop kick, and that combination gets a 2 count. Io Shirai heads up top, but Deonna cuts her off, and then she hits a set of rolling Germans. Deonna is fired up, and she covers for a 2 count. The armbar follows. Io fights. She teases tapping out, but she cradles Deonna and then locks on a crossface. Deonna struggles. She looks to power out and does, but she eats a knee strike. Io Shirai follows with the charging knees in the corner. Then she heads up top, and she hits the moonsault to get the victory. So Io Shirai becomes our second competitor to qualify for the semifinals. So, Madame Lizette, I'll let you start off this time on this particular match. Did you like the effort a lot better from Deonna Purrazzo this week, or was it about the same as last week?
So I liked it better. I'm not power bombing her today. I actually liked this match better, and I liked watching her and Io kind of go back and forth and counter each other with their strikes and with their holds. Io hit like a beautiful 619 on Deonna. Deonna gave her like those 3 suplexes. Good job. Like, I think this was kind of one of the highlights of the show. And I think the ladies did a good job. there were still moments where it felt like, oh, you're just kind of doing, you're going through the motions and kind of doing the same thing that you've been doing when looking at Deonna. But she did give us a little bit more this match, and I think that she gave us in the last 2 matches. So I'm gonna say that there is some improvement, and that there probably is more to her than what we've been seeing. And like Jupiter Julep, I think she said last week, maybe she was just prepping to get to EO. When she gets to EO, it's the big boss, and I'm gonna give you guys more than what I've been giving you. So I'm okay with it. I think the match was pretty good. They both kind of stumbled in different parts, but they, caught their footing, and it wasn't like super noticeable. So, keeping it clean and, still moving forward and everything was good. I like how much Deonna praised her. She didn't have that same deer in headlights look that Lacey Lane had in fighting Mako, but you could tell Deonna still was just like, oh my goodness, I'm in the ring with like one of the best wrestlers, if not the best women's wrestler in this day and age right now. So she still had those moments too, but she got comfortable in being in the ring with EO, and she did a pretty good job. And I think EO did a really good job. I think she shined through too. She was the genius of the sky. She did what she said she was going to do, and she's moving on. So good job, ladies.
Miss V, your thoughts on Deonna Purrazzo and Io Shirai this week's matchup? I'll ask you the same question. Were you impressed with Deonna's effort this week? Did she improve compared to last week for you?
Okay, so I won't say that like I'm impressed, but I'll say that I wasn't bored by her like I was last week. I think she definitely showed more than what she had last week, so there was more moves. I will say again though, if her finisher is gonna be the armbar, people can't roll out of it like 3 times in one match. Like I don't understand. Like it shouldn't have to require her to wrap up both of their arms for that to be her like if that's not what her actual finisher is. And I think Io rolled out of it like 2 or 3 times in this match. So that is kind of interesting for me if that's her finisher, how easy it is for certain people to get out of it. But overall, I would say the match was really good. There were some awkward moments where it just seemed like they weren't gelling completely, especially like with that Hurricane Rana that they tried to do. Where it was like, yeah, it was kind of like Deonna's feet barely even touched Io, and Io had to finish it. And it was just kind of like, oh, they're doing acrobatics in the middle of the ring. Like they totally kind of botched that. But in general, I would say I really enjoyed the match. So I wanted to go back last week, Dawn. You were talking about how on the back of Deonna's jacket that it talks about how she's the Fujiwara. Do you remember what it says?
Fujiwara specialist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing that drives me crazy about the way WWE shoots her is why do they do a wide shot every time she comes out? They do a wide shot on that, and if I'm a new viewer, I have no idea what it says on the back of her jacket because they don't show it. Because like by the time she gets in the ring, they always show her from the front. The only time you ever really see her from the back is when she's taking the damn jacket off, and by that point, you can't actually see what the hell it says. So it like literally plays no part in her gimmick. So I'm like, if you're gonna have that on the back of her jacket, zoom in on it when she's at the top of the ramp so you can actually see what it says. And then zoom out and have her in her pose. And then you're like, oh, now I know that her jacket says on the back of it. Now I know that she's the virtuoso and she's like, the armbar champion or whatever. I know that kind of thing. So that I hope they figure that out and change that. I will also say, Io, I don't think in the matches that I've seen of her so far in this tournament that she has landed her finisher all the way on her opponent once. Like it's looked like she's done more damage to herself than she has to her opponent in every time that she's gone to the top rope and done her finisher. Because like with this match, she basically touched Deonna with her arms. Like she overshot it. And she's overshot it almost every match that she's done so far. So I would I'm excited to see her finish it and actually finish it the right way. Because that's what kind of sucked for the end of this match. I'm like, if that's how it's going to end and she didn't actually land it,
Yeah.
Like that I would like to actually see her land her finisher if they're actually going to call the match at that point. So that's all I have.
Miss Jupiter Julep,
Mhm.
get the last statement on Io Shirai advancing to the semifinals over Deonna Purrazzo.
I will say that I'm gonna follow through with what Miss V was saying. The first time was her Io Shirai's match against Zaya Brookside. Is the first time that she hit it and hit it perfectly. The last two times she did overshoot it. I completely agree with you on that. And when you were talking about Deanna Purrazzo's jacket, the only thing I could think of was saying, you know what, she would do better off getting an airbrushed arm, like
Yeah.
this is like Rick Rude painting on the back of her jacket of her with an arm bar would be funnier and
Yeah.
people would get it a little
He
bit.
needs to call
She
Velveteen.
should put it on her tights. Like she should have her
Yeah.
doing like do a Rick Rude type thing where like she's got it on her tights or something.
Yeah, she got to call Velveteen. Velveteen can set her up real good.
Yeah.
Velveteen ain't got time for that. You know, he's like, it would be interesting to see to hear that conversation. In terms of the match for me, the first question I wrote down on my notes was, will Deanna redeem herself? Will she earn our respect? And for me, she did a smidgen. You know, in that I'm not forming to powerbomb anybody, you know, today. Oh wait, that's premature.
Oh, Lord.
That was premature. But you know, I didn't. This was more or less what I was expecting for her for the first match. I think that, or the second match showing that we had from her, I think that what helped me a lot with her was the opening promo. And that was when she talked about, you know, I have not met with Io before. You know, there's a lot of preparation for this match, but also this is what I do in terms of the armbar. And then you have Cole talking about through the match. She's going to look for the armbar, look for her to tenderize that arm, you know, early on and throughout the match so that she can put it on. And so I did understand her better because what we saw in that other match was like, well, I don't understand. Like, what is she doing? We didn't really see anything. Nothing was gelling from what she was giving us in the ring to the promo to what we saw and heard. That was a little bit different this match. I at times got a little concerned that Io's not going to pull this off because she was doing a lot of grandstanding. And also normally when you see one opponent kind of you know, get in a lot of offense, then it gives you a time for that opportunity, the person to get a hot tag or get an opportunity to turn the tide. And that's what happened when Deanna did slap on the armbar and the Fujiwara armbar, which Io countered. And I thought that that was a good counter, especially the counter into the crossface. So I liked the match. Like Miss V said, I wasn't bored. And I'm glad they both had these showing and that Io moves on.
This is the Forever Young Cast. I'm your host, Don Delarente. I'm joined by Miss Jupiter Julep, What Sleep Though, and Madam Lizette. You can find the Forever Young Cast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play. So we'll move into our next matchup. We've got Rhea Ripley versus Tegan Knox, where Tegan Knox attacks with a drop kick and follows with a suicide dive, but she injures her knee. She gets back into the ring, and Ripley tosses her down with a backdrop, and the ref puts up the X. Tegan Knox tells the doctor that she's fine, so she continues on, but finally collapses after Rhea Ripley hits a big drop kick. Ripley follows with a couple of strikes, but after that drop kick, the ref stops the match, and Tegan Knox is injured severely, and Rhea Ripley is moving on to the semifinals. So this was the This Is Us portion of the week for wrestling fans, as everybody was just crying and emotional. This, like, literally the whole Full Sail just stopped, and it was so quiet when they finally the drop kick landed and the ref officially stopped the match. So Before I let the ladies weigh in on their thoughts, Tegan Knox suffered a dislocated kneecap, a
Ooh.
torn MCL, a torn LCL, a torn ACL. She tore both her meniscus, multiple bone contusions, and a fracture on her left tibia, which is common with really bad ACL injuries.
Jesus.
Yes.
Wow.
So basically, in her words, her knee exploded. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's unfortunate because the way the match started, they talking about, oh, she's come back from, the knee injury, and it looked like she was kind of limping around a little bit there to kind of start the match, and then she does the suicide dive, and then you're kind of focused on her knee that has the brace because that's the knee that you see. But as soon as she lands and she gets up, she's kind of hobbling around a little bit. I still didn't know which one was her until she did the, where she kind of gave her the Rhea Ripley. She came off the ropes and Rhea Ripley like pressed her up and she like let her go and she just fell down to the mat. When she hit the mat, that's when I thought, oh, that might be where she hurt her knee. But they said that it was when she did the initial suicide dive. So, Miss V, I'll let you start first with your analysis of this short match. Unfortunate injury to Tegan Knox. Just kind of what were your emotions while this was happening? Because I know that you didn't know about what happened prior to this.
Actually, I did because I like to read spoilers. So I knew what was happening going in. I didn't know how it happened, and I didn't know the severity of what happened until just now. What you said, I knew she got hurt, but I just figured it was her bad knee that had gotten hurt. For me, I was just wondering if she had a bad knee, so I was like, why would they let her do a suicide dive out of the ring? Like, you would think for somebody that they want to have in, NXT, and they want to push in NXT, that they would do everything possible to keep that person healthy, or at least keep that person safe until they get 100% healthy and they're not walking around with a knee brace on. So I was actually really surprised that she did the suicide dive. I was even more surprised that they let her continue to wrestle, even though she said she was okay. You could clearly see that she wasn't. And I honestly think by continuing to wrestle, she probably hurt herself even more than she probably did initially. Like, I'm sure she tore the MCL and stuff when she landed, and that caused her foot or her tibia and all that to fracture and everything. But I just wonder if her trying to put weight on it, her being tossed up into the air and then landing on top of her leg and on top of her knee, I feel like that probably did a lot more damage to it as well by her continuing to wrestle. I feel terrible for her because you can see that she really wanted to keep going, but like, I think that they should have called that match a lot sooner than they did. I will say, for me as a viewer though, I wasn't sure if it was like, I knew she was hurt, but I was just wondering if it was, if it was part of the storyline, until I realized it was her other knee. But on the flip side, I will say Rhea Ripley handled the situation very, very well. She stayed in character. And even like once the match was called and she got out of the match and she kind of looked back at Tegan and kind of like gave a, oh well, kind of reaction and kind of kept going. And so she stayed in her heel character, and it made me not like, people maybe were not sure if she was actually hurt just by the way that Rhea was reacting. But I think it was a good showing for Rhea just by being able to stay in the moment and not be affected by what was going on. But so I'm guessing that Tegan's gonna be out for like quite a bit, right? Probably another year and a half or so.
Probably a year. Yeah.
I think she's already started rehab, so.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, because they posted the video of Triple H talking to her in the back after the match and basically like really giving her some seriously encouraging words, and her just being like a puddle of tears. And I think she quoted it and was just kind of like, I'm 2 months into rehab. So I think that she will probably be back sooner than we anticipate, especially since this is her second ACL and it's on a different knee. So she's already she went through this rehab process last year. So she kind of has an idea of like how it's going to feel and what to expect from it. And in that, she might come back a little bit sooner.
Uh-oh. The gremlins got her?
Huh?
Oh, you went away.
You broke up there for a second.
Oh, I did?
Mm-hmm.
I just paused.
You just paused.
I just stopped talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The internet just cut you off.
No. I was just like, I think that I don't even know what the hell I said now, so don't worry.
Okay.
I'm done.
Miss Jupiter Julep, I'll let you slide in your thoughts here.
The things that I really wrote about the match was about the crowd. So the silences in that match said so much about the heart of the wrestlers, about the crowd, how much the match and this tournament and wrestling means to them, how much they care. I mean, when she went out, it was a bunch of "Thank you, Tegan" chants, but that crowd, that Full Sail crowd, really, really showed me something. And it talks about how a crowd can make and break a promotion, not just a match. And so I have all of the respect for them, for the crowd, for that match. Other than that, I agree with what you said, Miss V, about Rhea Ripley staying in character the whole time. I think that this was, sometimes when there are blessings in this, and when we talk about character a lot, this helped her character about being brutal, about not caring, about being single-minded in her quest to be the best at any cost. And that followed throughout. So it's like, if we were to believe all of this to be true, Rhea Ripley ain't somebody to play with. And so I appreciated that. And it's just a sad situation. I wish her nothing but the best.
All right. Yeah, we definitely hope to see her back, maybe in time for next year's Mae Young Classic. But, hopefully she has 100% health and she can come back and tear it up on the scene. Because I really like Tegan Knox. I think she has a lot of energy. She has, ultimate babyface characteristics. So future's bright for her. Hopefully she can overcome her injuries and have a really long career. Our main event of the evening is next. It's Toni Storm versus Mia Yim. They trade strikes, stopping each other, and Yim hits knee strikes, but Storm hits a German suplex. Storm is fired up, and she hits the corner ass attack, but Mia Yim hits a Saito side suplex for a 2 count. Mia Yim charges, Toni Storm avoids, but Mia Yim ends up hitting a powerbomb for a 2 count. Toni Storm attacks Mia Yim's injured hand, then she hits a German suplex, and then she hits Storm Zero, the Mickey No True Driver, and Toni Storm is your winner, advancing to the semifinals. So, we're here.
We're here.
This is the match. This is the match that I've been waiting all week to hear y'all synopsis on what y'all thought of this match. So I'm going to start the way that we started the show. Miss Madam Lizette, you'll get your first breakdown of Toni Storm and Mia Yim. What were your thoughts on this week's main event?
So Toni still's not doing it for me.
Okay, thank you.
But so best friend and I had this conversation last night because he was like, "Why the fuck are you so hard on her?" And I was just like, "Because it doesn't translate. You can't talk all this cash shit in your promo about how you ain't gonna lose and then come out here and get your ass kicked for 15 minutes and then hit like your finisher and then you win. That doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work." And I told him, I was like, maybe Samoa Joe has spoiled me and I'm used to people who talk all this noise, come out here and put on a great show and then just take the L. I don't know. But Toni Storm is still not doing it for me. And that is another one of those Triple H, you need to go back to the drawing board with this whole idea with her, because you can't have her out here being this baby face and or promoting her as the baby face in the match, but then having her cut promos where she's just super confident in her ability and she knows she's gonna win. She knows she's in the ring, but then she comes out into the ring and she gets handily out wrestled by her opponent and then wins. And then it didn't help that I watched the NXT UK show.
Oh.
And she had a match on there too. And the same thing happened.
Ooh. Who was her opponent?
I can't even remember. She was good though. It wasn't Jenny. It was someone else, but she was good too. But Toni Storm did the same thing. She came out there, she talked all that noise, she had all this cockiness to her, got her ass whipped for most of the match, and then she went at the end. That doesn't work. It does not translate, and that makes people not want to like her, because you're telling me this baby face, you're telling me she's the baby face, but she does and says a bunch of things that kind of make you feel like she might be a heel. But Mia Yim did a great job. So Dawn, one of your girls, I thought she was great. I thought she was phenomenal. I'm so happy that they decided to release the video of Triple H offering her a full-time gig with NXT. Which we all knew that was coming, of course. But, you know, I'm happy that she got that. She did a really good job. She told a great story, which is basically like, I'm not going to just let you beat me. I'm going to show you that I'm the better wrestler. I know that Toni is young. She's only 22. So who Toni's going to be when she's Mia Yim's age is going to be a totally different character. And she's probably going to be a lot better. And we're probably all going to like her. But right now, I don't like her. And that kind of sucks because I liked her a lot last year.
All right. Miss V, was Sleep Though? What were your thoughts on Toni Storm defeating Mia Yim to advance to the semifinals?
I think it's BS that she won. She's such a cornball. Like I don't buy anything about her gimmick whatsoever. It is not real and true. I mean, maybe she is a rock chick or whatever, but she looks like a corn. Like she looks so stupid. She's like a poser, and I don't buy any of it. And it takes me out of her. And I'm like, oh wow, you're a blonde girl, and you're cool, and you're hardcore because you have black hair underneath. No, you just look stupid. It doesn't. I just don't like her at all. Like I don't get it, because, like Mademoiselle was saying, she talks all this hardcore shit in her promos. Like, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and then she comes out and she's getting her ass kicked the whole time, and then she hits one finisher and then she wins. I just don't see how you could build a whole program around her. So that's why it's like, this is Triple H. This is what you're going with. Because I don't get it. Like I don't understand where the star power is. Why does she have why is the black thing under her eye? Is she a Nelly fan? Like where? Like what is Jesus. The tie-in? I don't understand. Is that supposed to make her look hardcore? What? I don't know. But it just, everything about her, I just am like, why? That's my, like, she comes out and I'm just like, oh, why is she here? I don't get it. I will, like, Mia Yim is really dope. I did not know that her finisher was called the Soul Food.
Oh yes.
Which I think is dope, but WWE spelled it wrong on the screen. Like they spelled it SOUL when I'm like, she says it's spelled SEO, like from like Seoul, Korea. I was like, that's genius. I'm like, if you're gonna let her use that as her finisher, spell it right, WWE. But I think that's a genius like name for her finisher. I think she looked really, really good. She should have been the one to go on. And it's like, we know that she's not, we knew she wasn't gonna win because, you know, Toni Storm is the face of, you know, the European brand. But I don't get her. And I don't think I want to. So that's a problem for me. Like there's certain girls that I don't get on this Mae Young Classic. Like I don't get Lacey Lane, but I want to eventually. Like I want them to fix her so that I can cheer for her. I don't want to cheer for Toni Storm. I just don't. So that's it. Sorry, Dawn.
All right.
It feels terrible.
All right, Miss Jupiter Julep. They've picked Tony Storm up. They're waiting for you to come underneath.
What? Wait a minute. First of all, I figured out her rock gimmick. She is, yes, she's a Christian rocker.
Okay, you know what? I am sick of you.
It's like if Jessica Simpson decided to releasing a Switchfoot, there you go.
See that.
See, yeah, you see, it's just like you're not really cool, but you think you are.
Oh,
The cornball.
And like, yes, but I'm rocking out for Jesus.
It's like,
oh
my.
I think that's just what it is. So I'm like, well, But having said that, I mean, listen, because I can't think of no other reason for it. You always talk about Miss Speed that she should be a Mad Hatter, and I just remembered that last year she used to come out with the tiny hat.
Yeah, she was kind of like, I think last year's gimmick was the Mad Hatter gimmick because that was the gimmick she was running.
Well, I mean, she should return to that or do something, because here's the thing that I think is missing is that you had something with Mia Yim in the first match. She hurt her hand. That hand has been a through line from each and every match. It has featured in a way that opponent decided to approach her. You even Miss Face, Christian Rocker herself said, I'm gonna step on your hand a few times so I can get a win. And I mean, like, she had something to say that defined her as a wrestler throughout this competition. And we cannot say the same thing about Toni Storm, except she's there and somebody seems to love her. And I think the easiest way of discussing her really is like, how white women get with feminism. And feminism is all encompassing as long as it involves and centers them.
Yep. She's white feminism in wrestling. Like, she is walking white feminism.
It is.
But now I can't unsee Jessica Simpson. So I'm sitting here singing, boy, I think that I'm in love with you. Like, I'm singing that now because that's all I see. Like, even her facial expressions are Jessica Simpson.
That's right. But the boy is Jesus. That's the rocker. There you go.
Oh, God.
See what I done figured it out for you. There's your power bond, Dawn. You're welcome.
Dawn probably in the corner, like, you know what? I am fed up with y'all.
Well, you can be fed up. You're the one who set up on the platter. You didn't have to drive us to the arena, Dawn. You did. It was like, come on in.
He's like, carpool lane. Let's go. We are going. Let's do it.
Lord. And the sad part about it is the more I see her, is the more I think, because I'm spoiler free. So I did not know about Tegan Knox and the injury. I knew that somebody was injured because somebody said something, but I didn't know who it was or the circumstance or anything. So when it happened, I was like, "Ooh!" It was a complete shock to me. And the way that they are speaking about, and the way that the feminism is allowing it to work, she's going to be in the final, and I'm not going to have my Io versus Mako final, which I declare is bullshit in advance. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Io versus Toni.
Yeah.
To which I
say, where it's going.
And like, that's the part that bothers me, because when I saw that Toni was gonna have to wrestle Mako next, and knowing that Mako is not signed to WWE, you know how this is gonna go. Yep. It was just like, she's not gonna have the match that Mako and Mercedes Martinez had 2 rounds ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm supposed to accept this as like the finish and be okay with Toni making it to the finals when, sweetheart, you have not proven yourself to be worthy of a final spot.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even prove herself worthy enough to win like this match. Like, they even talked about how in the match that like Mia Yim has been putting more time in, and she's got more experience. And I don't know if they were trying to book Tony as like the underdog, but it's like we all know that she's not the underdog in this situation. Like we knew that's how it was. But oh my God, okay, sorry. I'm watching it back and I'm watching her celebrate, and it's so cringeworthy. I just need her to go away. I can't with her. She really is like, she really does look like she's at church and she got the spirit from like one of those really good gospel songs that at the white church. That's what she's all about. And I nope, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Well,
You've ruined it for me. Now all I'm gonna see when I see her is Jessica Simpson, and yeah, and Church for Jesus and Rockin' for Jesus. Yes, that's all I'm gonna see.
All right, Don, come
Yeah,
come save
your
her.
girl.
I thought
Come
this
put
was.
your cape on. Put your cape
I
on.
thought this was a really good match. I thought both women put forth a great effort. I was highly entertained by the back and forth nature of the match. I thought that Tony Storm had to dig deep for the victory. It was in peril to the final second. So,
Oh
like
God,
I said,
that cape is waving in the wind.
the only way that I would have been disappointed in the outcome of this match is if it just was a sloppy to not good match, and it wasn't that. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
But you know what though? But what about Mia Yim? That's also your girl.
Oh yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, I thought Mia did great. I thought that she was strong. She didn't let the hand slow her down. She was like I said, I thought both women put on an excellent match. I was totally into it. I wasn't out of it. I was like, I didn't know who was going to win, so I was highly entertained with the match. I was satisfied on all accounts. So that brings us, as the ladies were already kind of giving their preview, to the semifinals, which are next week. So the matchups will be Tony Storm as she recovers from the Forever Young cast triple power bomb, as she goes up against Miko Satomura, and Io Shirai will face off against Rhea Ripley. So I think it's unanimous. The ladies thinks that it's going to be Tony Storm versus Io in the finals, and that will take place at Evolution. So you ladies want to save that prediction to next week, or do you want to give it?
I have a question.
Yes.
So there'll be a regular episode of the Mae Young Classic next week with just 2 matches. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the matches will probably be longer than what we've been seeing.
Mhm.
And then at the end, they'll do the whole. These 2 ladies are your 2 finalists, and they'll probably present them and put the award or whatever in front of them or whatever, and then say, find out who wins and then Evolution will be the whole backdrop after that.
Oh, you said an award. They didn't make another ovary.
No, it's like that glass looking glacier thing. That is their trophy. I said award, my bad. Trophy. That's their trophy. It's the glacier ice cap looking thing.
The ovaries thing was the Royal Rumble trophy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
Battle Royal. But they just anything that has to do with females in WWE, it's like they open Grey's Anatomy and says, what part of the vagina can we use today, so that they know that it's female. Yeah. And we'll color it pink.
What's even worse is that they tied red ribbon to like the fallopian tubes. And it's like, why would you do that? But did you guys see that Naomi said they haven't even sent her the trophy? Like she was supposed to get a match for a championship from winning that, and then she was supposed to get the trophy, and she's like, I've gotten neither of them.
Oh, first of all, that's horrible. But Naomi, thank God, you don't want that.
You don't want that,
right? But I mean, that also has a lot to do with the fact that they all know like that trophy was atrocious, but that was because they had to develop a brand new trophy in
last minute
because we all kind of flipped the shit when they told us who the Rumble was going to be named after.
Yeah.
Who was the name after again?
It was
the Fabulous Moolah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And all those female wrestlers of that time that are still alive were like, she's the worst. She was a pimp. Hated her. Like
Oh,
they
so they should have just did a pimp hand then.
they made
Yeah.
a point.
Oh, okay.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So,
But at least,
oh, go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry.
I was saying at least it's not a butterfly like their belt.
That's true.
I mean, I could have dealt with that better.
It might
I
have
like
been better
butterflies.
than like a uterus.
Right.
That
I
would've
like
been better.
butterflies. I'm okay with it. Why not just make it a crown?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, like why did they like of all the shapes for that trophy? Like they knew what they were doing. Like they knew that was going. I think they were trying to make it a joke, which makes me even more annoyed with the whole thing because like yeah, you're gonna have a first battle royale, but then you're gonna give them some whack ass trophy. Like who wants a trophy? Like I understand getting a trophy shaped like Andre the Giant, but who the hell wants a trophy of Fabulous Moolah in your house? So I'm like, they should have had a better idea from the get go anyway for that trophy.
That's true.
It's just dumb.
That's not enough sage in the world that's gonna fix that spirit in your house.
No.
Well, they should do like the tennis, like maybe have a plate,
Either way,
like a silver plate, and just engrave it.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, that's a better idea.
Yeah, they can carry themselves to things remembered. I mean,
they gotta buy one get one now. I mean, they could get 2 trophies and they would be straight. They'd be
there
good.
you go. There you go.
Ladies, we got some feedback this week on the show, and there were some questions in the feedback that the listener would like for you ladies to take a stab at. So I'm gonna break it down to y'all. There's a couple of questions in here, so I'm gonna break it down one at a time. So the listener writes, question for the podcast. What are the things criteria-wise that you all look for in importance in a wrestler? So we'll start first with Miss Jupiter Julep.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things criteria-wise that you look for that is important to you in a wrestler?
If I would like to have sex with them or not. No, I'm teasing.
No, that's part of it.
No, that is part of it.
They didn't say well here. Well, your fuckability factor. No, that would make me Vince McMahon. So no. I think that it starts with character. The first episode we went on at length about MJ Jenkins and how she was developed character. It was Afrolicious, from her look to her theme music to the moves and the moveset, and the things that she could do with her character from either she was heel or face. I am looking for your character to be consistent and to, yes, evolve, but be able to tell me a story in and out of the ring. Other than that, I am looking for you to have some versatility in your moves. Meaning I don't want you to have the 5 moves of doom and that's it, where I can call your matches with my eyes closed, or I can go to the kitchen and know exactly what happened in your match because it is so predictable and cyclical. I don't want that. So I would like some innovation in your matches. And other than that, I would like for the character to also be respectful, even when you're being ignorant. I mean, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, I think, do heel right. They're not necessarily picking on sex or sexuality or race or ableism or homophobia or things of that nature in the WWE currently that would make me go, that's cheap heat, in a way that would make me feel dirty watching it. So I think that's my top criteria.
All right. I'll pose that same question to Miss Madam Lizette. The criteria that you look for and the importance in a wrestler.
So kind of very similar to what Jupiter Julep said. I want to believe in your character. And if you don't have a character, that's fine too. I just want to believe in you as a person. Do I think that you can win, or do I think that this loss is going to help you or hurt you? You need to be good on the microphone. like she said, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe or like Velveteen Dream are very good at getting on the microphone and making me believe whatever's coming out their mouth. I love a heel. And that's probably because heels can do all the things that you're not supposed to do. I don't too much care for baby faces, but there are some baby faces like when Bayley was in NXT, where you're like, oh, that's so adorable. And you want to cheer for her. And you still want to believe in her. Or even Daniel Bryan prior to the injury. I was fully on board for the Yes Movement because he was putting out promos and saying things that made me feel things. And also I care about how good are you in the ring? Can you wrestle? Can you go? I will beat you down when you first start, but if I see improvement in you, I will lift you up. So Tony, there is hope. There is a way for you to get better in that. And I'll ride with you if you get better in that, but I need to see improvement. If I don't see that improvement and I feel like you're just out here kind of just going through the motions and you've been in the ring for a number of years, or, you know, you're Eva Marie and you're having these 2-second matches, then even if your character and Mike is good, I'm probably still not going to like you because your in-ring ability is just not where it needs to be.
All right. And Ms. V, what's sleep though? You'll get to answer this final question. The criteria that you look for in a wrestler.
You ladies pretty much said it. I always first start out with, you know, what does the character look like and their gimmick? Does it match the person that comes out to the ring? Because a lot of times these people get these gimmicks or get these characters and it doesn't work for them at all. You can tell they don't feel comfortable in the gimmick. And when they don't feel comfortable doing it, I don't feel comfortable watching it. And it just feels awkward to have to try and support someone that doesn't 100% buy into what they're doing. I also I need you to have some kind of technical skill in the ring, because maybe you don't have the right look or something, but if you can go in the ring, I'm gonna want to support you, because I'm like, we can find you a character, we can figure out what we're gonna do with you, but if you can't actually go in the ring, then there's really no hope for you. Like, there's no reason for you to be here. So I look for, you know, that technical skill factor. And then, you know, being able to talk on the mic is helpful. I will say this: a good chunk of the women on the main roster and a good chunk of the women who are in NXT aren't amazing on the mic yet. There's only a couple of them that really can speak, and those are the ones that get pushed, unfortunately. Like Alexa Bliss, everybody loves her on the microphone, but she's not all that great in the ring. But she buys into her gimmick 100%, and when she gets on that microphone, you believe everything that's coming out of her mouth. And I think that's why people get behind her. But I don't know if it's 100% something that, you know, you need to have, because like I said, there's girls who I support and I know they can't speak on the mic, but I know they can go in the ring, and I know that they believe in their character 100% and they try. So those are the things that kind of matter for me. And that's why, you know, I don't believe Toni Storm. I don't believe, you know, after seeing Lacey Lane a couple of matches now, I don't believe in her gimmick. I don't know if she 100% believes in it either. I think she's still trying to find her footing, and that's why it's kind of hard to get behind her. And the same thing like with Toni. Like, I'm assuming that, you know, if she's gonna be pushed, the Triple H sees something that I don't see. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to, maybe in this match coming up with Io, we'll be able to see a whole other side from her, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what Triple H is going with. But right now, I'm just kind of like, you know, that's why I just don't believe in the character. I don't believe in her in-ring skill yet. I haven't seen anything that's made me kind of go like, oh man, I need to see her do that again. I've just kind of been like, okay. So that's how I feel.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate the feedback from the listeners. Continue to send that our way. And if you have questions, we will definitely try to answer them for you guys here on next week's podcast. So, ladies, is there anything else you ladies would like to talk about before we head over to shout outs and thank yous? You want to get into an evolution topic next week? We can talk about that, since that'll be one of the The Mae Young Classic final will be probably the semi-main event of that evening. We can maybe talk about that card a little bit. How y'all feel about that next week?
Okay.
All right. Sounds like a plan. All right. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Miss Jupiter Julep for her shout outs and thank yous.
Oh, thank you, listeners, and thank you, co-hosts. You guys make this a great cap to the week, being able to talk about women's wrestling and laugh and joke about it. Always give a shout out to Anwar Starwin, who is like our fourth Beatle. I'm saying Beatle, but he's just a member of our Jackson 5. And or DeBarge, whatever. Appreciate it. I'm gonna end it there. I don't want to say too much. So y'all have a great week.
All right. Miss Madam Lizette, your shout outs and thank yous.
I don't know if she's on still. I think she got disconnected.
Oh, she dropped on me. All right, Miss V, I'll turn it over to you. We'll see if she comes back by the time you're finished.
Oh, here she is. She just came back.
All right, let me come back.
Okay, you can go ahead and give your shout outs.
Thanks. Shout out to you guys, of course, for having me on the show today. And shout out to the best friend, because the best friend always gets shout outs. And shout out to Anwar for always coming in with the comments. I did get to listen to Caster Strong Style, so I got to hear what he said. And that's about it.
All right. Miss V, your turn. Shout outs and thank yous.
Thank you to you guys for having me on again. Shout out to my little brother in Virginia Beach. So hopefully he's doing good. Also, shout out to Don for not recording the 45 minutes of talk that we had before this started. That was good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. And he didn't put it up there. So y'all, hopefully we can recreate that next week. But it was some good stuff, guys. So shout out to Don for that. But just kidding. But thanks, guys, for having me on.
I'd like to thank all the ladies here on the show each and every week for giving the great analysis that y'all do. It's really an eye-opening experience to hear the details from y'all's observations for each woman in these matches. It's really been fun to listen back to the shows and then watch the matches again and kind of see what y'all picked up on. And it's been a lot of fun for me. So thank you, ladies, for this experience. Thank you to everybody who listens to the WrestleCast and Caster Strong Style and the CSPN. Please support the CSPN by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/CSPN Media. Become a CSPN Backstage member, and you'll get access to exclusive podcasts, videos, and other content that is not available on our free feed. And you can also support our sponsors by going to cspn.us, clicking on the tab that says Keep Our Podcast Free at the top of the page. And there you can shop through Amazon, Audible, Busted Tees, Adam and Eve. And some of your purchase comes back to us to help keep the podcast free on the network each and every week. So for my co-hosts, Miss Jupiter Julep, Miss Madam Lizette, and Miss V was Sleep Though, I'm Don Delarente, and this has been episode 7 of the Forever Youngcast. We'll talk to you next week. All right, ladies. Thank you.